In this video, I'm going to walk you through the only 4 sales objections you're ever going to get when you're in the online high-ticket closing space. That's meaning if you're a coach, you're a consultant, you've got a done-for-you offer, which is like maybe you're doing short-form content, videography, photography, some sort of creative fulfillment, or if you're doing a done-with-you, like a coaching consulting program. The great thing is there's only ever going to be 4 objections you get. Now, if you're new to sales or you're not closing at least 40%, go check out my other video. I'm going to break down exactly how you can start closing 40, 50, 60% and even more in that. I give you all the frameworks and everything you need. Now, one thing I want to walk through before we get into all the objection handling stuff is to show you why this is so important for your business, okay? Say your current offer is $2,000, right? 2K. What's going to happen here is if you're closing at 20%, let's say over a month you have 20 sales calls. So if you close at 20%, that means you're going to close 4 sales and you're going to make $8,000. Now, for example, if you're running ads or even if you're putting time or you're doing cold DMs or whatever your attraction strategy is, say to get that 8K, we spent $2,000 on ads over the month, right? That means that's going to equal a 4x ROI or return on ad spend, whatever you want to call it, for your business, okay? It's not too shabby. One of the issues people do and one of the biggest mistakes they do is they try to put more water into the bucket, but there's actually all these holes in the bucket. So no matter how many leads or conversations or things you do, you're not going to scale. So if we go another month and go, hey, let's just double our ad spend because we make 4 times that, well, you're now going to spend 4K on ads. You're going to get 40 calls. You're going to still close at 20%. From that 20%, now you're closing 4 people, you're going to close 8 people, and you're going to make 16K, which is still great. Like you're still making a 4 times ROI. But what I want to invite you to really look at is this. Instead of your decision being to up the ads, what if you were to improve your sales skills to this? So you go to a 40% close rate. What's going to happen here is you're then going to spend the exact same amount of money. So you're still going to spend 2K. That's a 2K on ads. What's going to happen here is you're going to generate 20 sales calls. You're now closing at 40%, meaning the 4 people you close, you're now going to close 8, equaling 16K. From a 2K ad spend, that is an 8x ROI. Just by moving the needle on your sales skills by 20%. And why this is so important is because if you double the ad spend or you increase the lead flow, that creates so many more bottlenecks in your systems and your operations. If you're handling all the DMs, if you're handling all the calls, all of a sudden, instead of if you doubled ad spend and you doubled that and you ended up taking 40 calls, all of a sudden that's 40 hours of calls and probably more because there's back and forth. There's a ton more messages because depending on your conversion from message to call, there's a huge amount of bottlenecks in that. So what's going to happen is you're going to get to a place where you're overwhelmed and you're uncertain on how to scale because the thing you're missing is just the ability to sell better. And when you can do this, it doesn't matter if you get an expensive cost per lead, because if you can close really, really well, you get so efficient in what you currently have. Then when you do want to grow and scale your business, you don't have this looming anxiety and fear that you're going to get burnt out and overwhelmed because you can leverage what you currently have. One of the reasons people don't push and don't scale from here is because they're like, how could I manage any more leads whatsoever? That's something I just want to tick off there. Now we can dive into the actual objection side of things. So there's 4 main objections you're going to get. It's going to be the wife / spouse, wife, husband, 2025. I don't want to just speak to one gender. There's that. There's going to be a time. There's going to be a financial, so money, and then there's going to be a belief. Belief is belief in themselves or belief in you and the program. Okay. Now, how we do this is going to be similar every single time. So the price here is going to be when you drop the price. Okay, Jeff, the price for the program is 2K. And then there's going to be an objection that comes up. So insert objection. So the example here is going to be there's a money objection, right? So I go, okay, cool, Mikkel. 2K, oof. It's a bit more than what I thought. Like, it's pretty expensive. And Jeff might say, I'm not able to move forward today because maybe I don't have that money. So what you want to do from here is and this is a disarming technique, you want to agree. Jeff, totally fair. I get it. It's a lot of money. Not everyone has that just in their account ready to go. So when we isolate here, we just want to make sure this is what we're speaking about. So Jeff, before I get into anything else, I just want to make sure, like, is price the only thing holding you back from really like doing this? Like, you love the program and stuff, yeah? Once we isolate why the reason is that they don't want to move forward, we want to tie that down. So just to be sure, Jeff, and this is kind of like a temperature check, it's just price that's holding you back from moving this. Like the 2K is just a bit too much for you right now to like invest. Yeah, it is. Okay, awesome, cool. So Jeff, just to make sure, and this is where we double tie down. So I would ask Jeff, like, if we could do something with the price on the call today, would that help you? Like, would that put you in a position where you could move forward today on the call? And Jeff's going to say, well, yeah, if you can do something with the price, awesome, thinking you might discount it or something, but I'm massively against discounting your programs. You want to shift and tailor them to suit. Otherwise, the worst thing you can do is discount on a call. Instead of 2,000, you say 1,600, and they're going to think like, well, why were you trying to charge me 2,000 before? Why weren't you just trying to charge me 1,600? There's ways you can do this. Usually you can remove some things, or you can lengthen out things, or you can alter things they get access to on the inside, and it justifies. You can cut the program in half. You can, if you have a coaching call every week, you can make a coaching call every second week. There's so many different ways you can do this. Like, what I can do is I can tailor something for you on the call today to make sure, I want to be sure that this is the thing you really want to do, but I don't want price to get in the way of it for you. Sound good? Cool. So we're kind of like, we're tying again. We're getting them to lean in. Well, look, like, you let me know, like, how much cash on hand do you have right now to put down? So that'll let me know if we can actually figure something out or not. And they could ask you back with like, oh, how much would I need to get started or something? You need to know what these figures are for you. So on a 2K offer, we could say, like, if you could put down 500 today and we can set you up on a payment plan, we can knock out the 2,000 over the next X amount of weeks. Would that work for you? And Jeff could be like, well, nah, 500 is a bit much. And ask how much money Jeff has on hand. And he tells you, look, I got $800 on hand. And you're like, okay, cool. So just to make sure, like, if we can tailor something that financially makes sense for you on the call today, you'd be happy to pull the trigger and move forward. Yeah. Okay. So what we're doing here is we've opened up the conversation. We've disarmed everything. We're not in this grabby, like, objection back and forth. If it was free, would you do it? Well, of course, everyone's going to do it if it's free, right? I hate those objection overcomes. So what we can do here is, now Jeff's really bought in. We're like, look, Jeff, look, mate, I'm not going to ask you to spend all of it if you've only got $800. Or actually what you want to do is re-clarify. So you'd ask him, Jeff, is that like spending money, or is that like all of the savings you have completely? And I don't mean to pry. I'm just trying to better understand so we can actually like help you out in the call today. And Jeff might be like, that's all my savings, that's everything I have, and I get paid until next week. You're like, okay, cool. Well, Jeff, mate, I'm not going to ask you to spend all of it, but what I am going to ask is if you can put down a $250 deposit today. And what that's going to do is that's going to lock in your spot. We can start to set up your membership, your onboarding, all of this processes, and we can start getting you results this week, and then we can figure out a payment plan that suits. Does that sound good? Cool. Awesome. The reason I like this, and you don't want to go into the intricacies so much of like when the next payment's going to come out and everything, this 250 is more of a deposit than anything, because Jeff could come back and say like, hey, I can only make payments of $100 a week. Okay, cool. If depending on your, like, the end of the day, some money is better than no money inside of your business. It just depends how expensive your fulfillment is. Like, if you're a personal trainer who's just starting out, or if you're a coach online who's just starting out and you don't have many people on the books, you can tailor your program so much. You can extend payment plans and might be under the understanding like these people might not ever pay you the full amount. That's okay, because you still want money in the door, right? A lot of people will tell you, if they can't pay the full amount, do not onboard them, do not bring them in. But at the end of the day, it is relative to the situation you're in. So you can do 250, cool. And what we can do is we can set you up on a payment plan so we can knock out the rest of the 2,000 by the end of the 16 weeks. Sound good? Jeff's going to be like, okay. And what I've even done before, sometimes with people, we can we can backload the payments. So the front payments will be a bit smaller. We get some results. I bring them some clients in the door and then end up paying it in full before the end of it. So that's some examples you can do with a money one, but it's going to be the same through all of these objections. So the wife, time, money, and belief. Let's go through a wife objection. Hey, Jeff, the price is $2,000. And Jeff says, oh, awesome, love it. Just one thing, I always run these things past my wife. We make decisions together on this. And what you're going to do here is you're going to agree. Yeah, Jeff, of course. Like, me and my fiance, we always make financial decisions like this together as well. So just so I can better understand, like, if you were to take this to your wife, like, what do you think about this she wouldn't like? Like, what do you think she wouldn't approve of? Most of the time, the wife objection is a smokescreen to them making a decision on the call. And when you can indirectly ask what the wife would say, sometimes that's the objection of the person, because they can palm it off as them. And then they're just gonna say, well, my wife's just seen me like try 3 other programs before and I've never gotten a result. So if I take this to her, I want to make sure she's on board. And you're like, okay, cool. So, and this is when we start to reveal the actual concern. What would be underneath something like this would be belief. So Jeff, just so we're clear, it's not a price thing. It's just more that you don't have the certainty that this is going to get you the result, right? So now what we've done is we've been able to isolate the smoke screen, the wife thing, and then it's come back to a certainty and a belief. But I would say, Jeff, 1 or 2 things usually happen when I speak to people on the call. A, it's a belief issue in themselves, or it's a belief issue in the program. What do you feel it is for you? Do you believe I can't get you results, or do you believe you won't see them through? Okay. And they're going to give you an answer. And from there, you can kind of establish if you have guarantees. Well, look, Jeff, one of the things, man, if I can give you a guarantee on the call right now that you will get the results you're speaking to, would you move forward? If you get to go to your wife and say 100%, there's a guarantee, 100% money back, would you do that? Yeah, cool. Awesome. So Jeff, one thing I need from everyone that comes inside my program is commitment that they feel like this is the thing for them. Is that for you? Yes. Okay. So what's going to happen is we have a guarantee where if you do X amount of things, so I like a performance guarantee. So if you're doing, if you're helping someone scale a business, they need to run X amount of ads, X amount of posts, X amount of content, X amount of sales call, whatever that is. If they're doing training, nutrition, they need to log X percentage of all their workouts, of their food diary, of their consult calls. You need to create KPIs, which are things they need to do. Now you say Jeff, we do have a guarantee, it's performance guarantee. So we want to make sure you actually are putting in the work. We're not just onboarding people and in a week they say it doesn't work, right? I would be a bad coach if I didn't have this guarantee in place, because I'm holding you accountable to do what you said you were going to do. Okay. Awesome. So from here, what we can do, Jeff, is we can just take a small deposit. You can have a chat to your wife. That's 100% refundable. So it just puts down, it holds your spot. I've got a bunch of other calls later today. I want to make sure I hold your spot. We can get your onboarding, get your members portal and everything set up. And then we can move forward from there. And then what we want to do is we want to get a deposit there on the call. If there's resistance for a deposit, it's a certainty thing and you need to overcome that with them, because at the end of the day, I would much prefer for someone to pay $5 or $10 or $20, because what happens then is when they go speak to their wife, and you have $20 or $50 of their money, you're not in this chasing energy where you're like, hey, Jeff, are you free? Can we jump on a call? How'd you go with the wife? What happens here, there's been an exchange. So he's given you money. Now when you follow up, it's well, hey, Jeff, I got your money, man. Did you want to speak about this? How can we move forward with this? So it creates it's not about the money. It's the energetical commitment to make a commitment. It's the baby step to that commitment, okay? How you handle these in the moment is going to be very subjective. It's not a matter of just rinsing someone through a script. It'll be how the connection, rapport, and trust you've built earlier on the call will allow you space to have these conversations. So we've covered the wife and spouse. We've covered the money, but we can double down on the belief side of things. So the belief side of things is one of the things you need to understand is if this person's on a call, you need to reframe it to them that are you on this call and are you in this place because of a lack of different types of actions leading up to you? Meaning that your action right now that's holding you back from making this, do you think that's a symptom or the cause from where you're currently at? Because if it's a cause, then that is something you need to change moving forward, which it probably is, right? Because there's inaction, there's inability to make change and move. It's not a symptom, because the root problem is actually the thing we're speaking about right now, the commitment to move forward and the belief you can actually do this. And this is when we can isolate that. So we would speak to them, if you don't think this will work for you, well, the results you've been getting for the last 3 years and you're not doing anything, don't you feel like that's not a symptom of the problem? That's actually the cause of the problem, right? Depending what your call's been up to here, then you can unpack this and take them down the path of oh, this is actually the cause of the problem. And the reason you are where you are right now is because you're not making decisions like this to move forward. And with the beliefs, depending on your guarantees, you can really position them one of three things. Jeff, there's really 3 guarantees. right here, okay? There's the guarantee that you do something, you try something new, it works, you get the results you want. There's the second guarantee that you try something new, you don't get the results you want, and you get your money back in the performance guarantee we got. And the third thing is you do nothing and you stay stuck. So out of those three options, like which one do you feel like would be the one that's going to put you in the position where you want to get this result? So all of these are essentially risk-free. You just need to choose which one is going to put you in the position to get the result you're currently after. This is a different frame where you can just reframe. Like there's only one of three decisions. So a confused customer will do nothing. And if they think there's too many things to decide from, they won't make a decision. So if you can simplify this down, hey, there's just 3 guarantees right now. Which one do you want, right? Depending on your performance guarantee, depending on the things, will depend how you can handle that. And the last one we're going to cover is time. Okay, so say hypothetically you get to the close, yeah, it's $2,000. You're like, okay, cool, yeah, I could definitely do that. It's just I don't feel like I have enough time for the program. So what you want to do here is agree. Well, yeah, I get that, Jeff. You sound like you're a super busy guy. But just so I can better understand, you want to isolate. It's totally fair. You feel that way. But just so I can understand, like, if you had more time, would you do it? Yeah, cool. Okay, well, so I can understand, Jeff, like how much time do you have right now? 5 hours a week. Okay. And we honestly need about 10 hours a week. Okay, cool. Well, if I could show you a way where you could get that extra 5 hours a week, like, would you move forward with it? And they could say, yes. Okay. It can be dependent on the offer, right? So if you're helping people make more money, usually once someone makes more money, that allows them to have more free time to do what they want to do. Okay. If you're helping someone lose weight, usually you can position and shift the perspective. Well, Jeff, if you lose an extra 10 kilos, what I'd usually find with clients is that they actually have more energy, they sleep better, and they have more time throughout their day because they're actually awake for longer and they don't need to sleep as much. Okay. And we tailor the training and nutrition plan so you're not wasting time doing hours of meal prep every single week. Another one could be a relationship one. So the relationship could be like, well, I'd love to do this, but you know, the time it would take for me and my wife to come back together and go through this whole counseling program, you could just like, it's just a perspective shift. It's always a perspective shift. So it's like, Jeff, well, the issue here isn't the time, it's the choices they're making. And the lack of time is a byproduct of the choices they make early on. That is the perspective shift we're trying to get to. Like, Jeff, can you see if you had someone accountable, making sure you're eating all the right food, you're lifting the right weights, you're doing all the things, and we start to get the results and get you the energy back, can you see how it's just the choices you're making right now is allowing you not to have the time? So by making a new choice on the call today, you will have more time. There's other things, like I know programs where people they have like a full organizational structure, so time blocking in their calendars and stuff. And one of the things they have built in is they have that in their program. So when guys are busy, like they're business owners, everyone says they're super busy. Well, what we actually do is we restructure your whole week so you get 5 hours or 10 hours back every single week. One of the things that a little hack here is every single program out there can include this. And what you do is you just get someone to show you their screen time. How long are they spending on WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook? You go, okay, cool, no Instagram this week. There's 15 hours back. There's 20 hours back in your week, right? You can add that in. So they're the big 4. Wife, spouse, usually a smokescreen to the thing they actually want to say. Time, well, it's just choices. You need to reframe the perspective on the choices they're making and show them new choices equal new results in the time they have. Money, you can tailor that depending on where they're at and depending on your fulfillment, if you have overheads or if you don't. And belief, you need to single out if it's belief in yourself or it's belief in the person or belief in the program. Once you isolate that, you can then create guarantees or certainties in that, so then they can make a decision moving forward. At the end of the day, you don't make more money because you're better at handling objections. The closing happens earlier in the call, in the discovery phase, understanding, overcoming obstacles before they blow up on the close. If you're on a call and someone's already saying, you know, like, I'll have to run this past my wife, or like, I'm not sure how much time I have, you need to single that out. Then the way you would single that out is you need to bring that up in the conversation. That stops it blowing up on the back end. Other things in discovery, like if you ask someone like, oh, I want to lose 10 kilos. You're like, okay, cool. You want to lose 10 kilos? Okay, cool. Well, I can walk you through the program. You don't have the depth and you don't have the emotional hooks in like, why do they want to lose 10 kilos? Like, why is this weight so important to them? Why do they want to earn $20,000 a month? Why do they want to earn $30,000 a month? Why do they want their partner back? Like, if you can deeply understand that, it gives you so much more of an understanding to help them make a decision at the end of the call. Ethical high ticket sales can be a game changer for someone's life if you come from an authentic, certain place where you truly believe in your program and it can do something for this person's life, you will win 9 times out of 10 more just building certainty and belief into your program. If you're a coach or consultant and you don't have that in your program, you need to double down and make sure you can deliver something amazing. Like, add everything to it. Make it so damn good that you feel like if you charge $2,000, people would be getting it for a steal. That'll make it so much easier when you're speaking to someone to get them over the line. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've got a bunch of other videos up here to help you launch, scale, and build an online coaching or consulting business. I'll see you in the next one.